Alright, so here I have finished my value scale and my shaded forms for the cross-hatching. Now we're going to go on to stippling. I love stippling, but I hate it at the same time because stippling is when you use dots to create the value. The closer the dots are, the darker the value becomes. Literally, this is what you are doing. You are putting dots upon dots upon dots upon dots next to each other. Now, I'm actually going to switch to a slightly bigger nib because it might make it a little bit easier to make some of these bigger dots for the bigger areas because they are bigger dots. And again, more dots next to each other. The darker it is, the less dots, the lighter it is. Alright, so we have finished our value scale. Now it's time to go on to the forms. Same thing as always. I always do the sun from that side. Makes my life a little bit easier. And we're off. Alright, so we have now finished the top half of our worksheet, and if we look at it even far away or farther away than what we've been, you could see the difference in how it looks like this is no longer a circle, it's a sphere because of the amount of shading. Yes, having the little cast shadow does help, but I didn't do it on the bottom too. It doesn't matter if you do it with the shadow or without, it makes no difference. Now we're actually going to move on to the bottom of the worksheet where it's talking line direction and variation. Vary the line direction as you practice line variation, and it's very, very simple. Rough lines, thick, thin, short, curved, wavy, broken, calligraphic, and then this one you could pretty much choose your own. Rough lines, sure what you would consider a rough line. I guess it could be almost like a sketchy line. A very sketchy, rough, kind of imperfect line. I got ink on that one. Thick line is actually very simple. With the thicker nibs, you could just go in and draw thicker lines. Thin lines, very, very self-explanatory. Short curves, almost like dragon scaly. Wavy. Broken or implied lines. You can do them any which way you want. Now, calligraphic lines, you can look as old school calligraphy writing, and you can write your name. Now, that looks very much like a pen from nowadays. If you go with a different nib, one more like this with a little bit of gold on it, it'll actually look a little bit more like calligraphy. And that's something I know is a little hard to see, but it's there. Now, I've decided that I'm going to do zigzag lines. here. And you can do any types of lines that you want. And now we are done. So if we look at our finished product, we have everything that we need to know about pen and ink. Now, cleanup is very simple. We are going to be pouring, or I'm going to be pouring the leftover ink back into the bottles. The nibs go into the sink and get washed. You wash them and put them back where you got them from. Just the nibs, these also go back where you get them from. Separate them so that people have a choice as to what they want next time. If you do not wash the nib, the ink dries in it and it actually gets very, very hard to wash. Any questions? Please come and see me.